Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday, y'all. Happy Bankroll Your Brilliance Thursday. I'm Nicole Roberts Jones, the Bankroll Your Brilliance expert. I am excited to be here with you every Thursday, 12 p.m. EST, to give you tools, tips to really get in alignment with your God given assignment. And here's what I know for sure God wants all of us to live abundantly, and it's tied to one, you understanding what your brilliance is, what it is, how to be clear, how to know who needs it. Number two, the value assigned or even attached to it. You know, what I found in the 28 years, did I say 28? 28 years that I've been in this work is that most women and men too, the few good men that join us, don't really understand the value that is tied to their brilliance, their purpose, their gift. And then third, how do you make multiple streams of revenue from it? And so today, I think today our conversation is kind of from 2 and 3. But before I get into that, those of you that are my original girls is what I like to call it, OGs. Fellas, you too, original boys. Come in and say hello, tell us name, tell us where you're joining from. If you have questions during this segment before I introduce our expert, please feel free. If she says things that step on your toes, put some fire emojis up there. If she says some stuff that's just good, you can throw a hand up, you can put a heart up. We want to hear from you. Good morning, Sandra in Riverside. My grandmother always says, don't you walk in this house and not speak. So all of you that are listening and you haven't said hello, you walking in my house and you're not speaking. And my grandmother, who is from down south, you would have your hide, as she would say. So with that said, let's get today's segment started. I'm excited to introduce to many of you. Hey, Renata, I see you in BK in the house. Dr. Cozette M. who is an acclaimed 6-time best-selling author. She's a nationally recognized advisory accountant and tax expert, an international speaker and philanthropist. She's also the founder and CEO of My Financial Home Enterprises. She is a certified woman-owned business, small business, global financial firm providing comprehensive accounting, tax, and business management services. Now, if you think that wasn't enough, listen. Her business has been featured in Forbes magazine and named one of the Boss Network top 50 companies 2 years in a row. Now, on top of all of that, she is the resident Money Matter tax expert for Fox 40 and has been featured on CBS This Morning, NBC, ABC, Fox outlets, Radio 1, and iHeartRadio, Black Enterprise, Forbes, Upscale Magazine, the Huffington Post, and that's just to name a few. And then on top of that, if that wasn't enough, in 2017, Dr. White was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award by President Barack Obama. So you see, as we talked from our conversation today, making better financial decisions and why every business needs a virtual CFO. So if you ain't ready, you better get ready. Welcome, Dr. Cozette White. Hey, girl.
Hey, how's it going, Nicole? How are you this morning?
I'm so excited to have you here because she said morning this afternoon. Look, she on the West Coast and I'm on the East Coast. I love it. We covering it all. And I know many of you, I see Q from Houston and Rob in Maryland and Carmita. Girl, if I mess up your name, I apologize. Deetra, tell us where you are. Brenda, Indianapolis. Mars is in the Netherlands. So listen, we got people that come from all over the world. So with that, grab your pen because she is coming to school you, right? So this is for you, whether you have a business or you want to start a business. And listen, a lot of the financial advice she's going to give you can also refer to your personal life. So don't discount it if you don't have a business, okay? So what are some of the mistakes you see many CEOs have around making financial decisions in their business?
Oh my goodness. So yeah, let's jump right in, Nicole. So some of the problems that we as CEOs see other CEOs is mismanagement of funds. Mismanagement of funds, placing personal expenses in with business expenses, which is simply a no-no. We also see that our CEOs don't manage their finances. And what I mean by that, you all, is that you are not looking at your balance sheet, understanding what assets do you have? What liabilities do you have? Who do you actually owe? And it's so important to truly understand what that balance sheet is telling you, because when you go for financing, the bank is going to ask for your balance sheet. You guys are not looking at your profit and loss statement. The profit and loss statement.
And let me stop you because some of y'all are saying, what's a balance sheet? What's a profit and loss? And let me just tell on myself because she going all the way in. And some of y'all are like, lost. So I'm going to tell you, when I first started my business and I hired a coach, she said P&L, right? So I didn't know what that meant. So I thought she was talking about PR. I was like, what is public relations? You have to do with my money, right? So she's going to explain to you, but I want you guys to not discount this, right? And some of the words she's saying, if you don't understand, ask the question. You have an expert here. Don't waste this time. Ask her the question. question. So sorry, I just had to
That
out myself. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. But yeah, so a P&L, profit and loss statement, is going to show all of your income coming in from all of your sources in your organization. And of course, all of your expenses. What is truly the number that you should be focusing on, you all, is the number after the income comes in and the expenses go out. What is that net profit? And that's the
Mhm.
number that I'm concerned with. That's the number that the Internal Revenue is concerned with, because that's the number that we want to manage so that you are paying the least amount in taxes. If you are working with a qualified professional, we will assist you in making sure that you reduce that net profit so that you're not cutting a check, stroking a check every single quarter.
Mm.
You're going to do it quarterly, but not every single year in such a high amount. We help you diversify your funds into areas that's going to help you once you reach that retirement age. So just managing your funds, you all, that's number one. And we're coming out of a pandemic, and so many of us lost our businesses because we weren't able to tap into some of the funding that
Yeah.
was available to us because mismanagement of funds, not
Mhm.
keeping current with your taxes, and not even knowing how much you made the prior year. Terrible, terrible, terrible.
And
So
not
those
even
are
and also not even bookkeeping. So even, applying for PPP and any kind of small grant that came out during the pandemic, or let me just be real. Those of you that have a service-based business, you can't go to the bank and get funding. Okay. Not until you've had some revenue and they see that you're profitable, right? So a PPP or some kind of grant is going to be beneficial to you. However, they still want to see your P&L. They still want to see all of your back end finances. And that's why she's getting ready to get into a virtual CFO. So here's what I want you to know. Those of you that are starting a business, you do not need to hire people full time. Okay. I have 8 people on my team. I do have a virtual CFO, right?
yeah.
And listen, I'm only a full time employee. So nobody knows that in my business. But when you're running a business, you do not have to have all these full time employees, because then you got to pay for stuff like benefits and all these other expenses. Why would you do that when you're trying to get your business afloat, right? So tell us the difference, or tell us first the importance of having a virtual CFO.
Absolutely. So, first of all, what exactly is a virtual CFO? A virtual CFO is someone who comes in and oversees and manages your funds,
Mhm.
manages your financial operation. And we do it from a strategic standpoint. We come in and at a high level and manage what is actually going on in your operations. For example, Nicole just told you she has a virtual CFO. She is the only employee. We may look at what if scenarios. Nicole, your revenue is reaching this dollar amount.
Right.
Is it cost effective for you to keep your team as virtual independent contractors? Or would it be beneficial for you to bring them on as employees, pay employer taxes and employee taxes? Would that help reduce your tax liability in the long run?
Mhm.
We do a cost analysis to see what's best for Nicole. In this particular case, it may be best for Nicole to keep them as independent contractors. Let me tell you guys why. Nicole is the only employee on her staff in the organization. Nicole, if she's looking at tax strategies, she can set herself up with a solo 401k plan, write those expenses off, contribute to her 401k plan because she is the only employee of her
Mhm.
organization. She can write off all of her contributions, you all, and reduce her taxable income. So
Right.
those are just some of the examples that we do as a virtual CFO. We come in and help you manage what you can't do from a financial aspect side of things.
And
And
can I tell you? So look, she's speaking, and I want you to say and, but I want y'all to get this. So I'm gonna speak from a CEO that is that look can barely balance my checkbook. Can I keep it real? Okay.
all
So
right.
right, I'm gonna keep it all the way real. So when I started my business and I started getting busy, and many people ask me this question: how do you know when to hire someone? So for me, not now, but soon I'm on the road a lot, right? So I'm gonna tell you when I started forgetting to pay people, and forgetting to pay expenses, not because I didn't have the money in my account. I just busy speaking and talking to people, and I will forget I have bills. I was like, oh my God, what do you mean this bill is late? What do you mean I'm overdue? And I'm not that kind of girl. I don't usually have overdue things, but we're trying to manage many things. What you have to begin to understand as you grow your business, you've got to begin to look at what's the highest revenue generating activity only you can do. And then you do that. So the first person I hired was an assistant because I needed help. And the second person I hired was at the time was a bookkeeper, but she's grown to virtual because she started saying, okay, do you need me to pay your bills? Yes, girl. Yes. Then she started creating strategy. So as I've grown, she has grown with me to now her whole team. I have an accounting department because her whole team works for me. So I'm sharing that because many of you think that you have to have this long whole, you need to have six figures before you hire a virtual CFO. That's not the case. I believe you start, and you, Dr. Cozette, I'd love for you to talk about this. If you start your business the right way and you get the experts in, you start with where you are, you grow with that person.
Absolutely. Start with where you are. And you made a huge point there. When you hire a virtual CFO, you're not coming with just my expertise, you're coming with my entire team's
Mm-hmm.
expertise. We have someone on staff that may be effective in spreadsheets, financial analysts. We may have our cost accountant. We have our person that's a tax specialist. So we have a team behind me. I have a team behind me that's going to help support your organization. So starting your business off correct is important, you all. And as Nicole alluded to, she is probably an S corp. I don't even know this, but I'm just going by what she's telling me, that she is
Mm-hmm.
probably an S corporation. You want to ensure that the formation that you start off with is correct for you, not for your colleague, not for your what your mother and father or your daddy told you to do. What is best for you, because there's tax advantages and disadvantages based on how you set your organization up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And as you grow, you can change the structure of your organization. If you start that organization out as a limited liability corporation and you're paying the fees for whatever state you are conducting business in, at any time, once you begin to grow and you scale and you leverage your organization,
Mm-hmm.
then that's the time that I would be having a conversation with you to say, hey, your revenues are going to peak out at this dollar amount for the
Yeah.
year. We need to structure things a little different because it's cost advantage and it's going to save you, your organization, in the long run. My whole thing, you all, when I'm working with CEOs, is to ensure that that bottom line, we're not paying Uncle Sam, and we're taking
Right.
advantage of every single opportunity. So if that means structuring your organization in a different formation that will benefit you, then we're going to do that.
Right.
So make sure you're talking to a skilled individual that's going to help you up front so that you don't have all these hiccups. And make sure you do your research, you guys, because everybody is not skilled. Everybody is not qualified to make sure you're set up properly. And I see it time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't realize they sent in paperwork for me to be an S Corp. We talked about it, but they just sent in my paperwork. Make sure, listen, wait a minute. I need you guys to write this down. This is quotable.
Oh,
Inspect what you expect.
ooh.
Don't
Wait,
hand
girl. Don't say
over.
that fast. Don't say that fast. Inspect what you expect. That's so good. We got some questions coming in. So I want you to explain it. Then I want to answer a couple questions. Inspect what you expect. Go ahead. That's good.
Yes. And what I mean by that is just don't throw paperwork over the fence to us and
Mm-hmm.
expect that we are going to get it right all the time. We're human.
Mm-hmm.
It's your responsibility as the CEO to make sure that you follow up and you check and we do make mistakes. We are managing several accounts, but I'm not saying it's something that we do all the time. But you inspect what you expect. Don't just say, "Oh, go ahead and do that," and then when it's time to do your taxes, you realize I didn't
Mm-hmm.
tell them to set me up as an S corp. Well,
Mm-hmm.
did you sign the paperwork? So,
Right.
what's the questions that are coming
Right.
in?
And can I just say real quick about that? So for me, quarterly, I look at my P&L with my accountant, right? With my director of accounting. And I do that because I also find I'm spending money on stuff I don't need,
Right.
And so it's been amazing to me to be able to say, oh, well, I need to let this go and I need to let that go. And so anyway, it's great to inspect what you expect, whatever way you said it. Anyway, so Murray says, how much does it cost to hire a virtual CFO?
So that can vary depending on the services that we will be providing. So it depends on the size of your organization as well as the tasks that we will be performing for your organization. So you can expect to pay anywhere in our organization. You can expect to pay starting out at about 2,500 on up to $5,000. You
Mhm.
can find services that are a little lower, and that depends on what your revenue is. You may be able to find someone that can assist you as low as $600,
Mhm.
$1,200, but it really depends on where you are, the size of your organization,
Right.
what's the long term goal, how are we partnering together? Because I look at it as a partnership. I'm
Mhm.
partnering with you to ensure that you are growing, scaling, and you are getting what you need out of the services that we provide.
And on the top, to add to that too, I love she said I look at this as a partnership because think about it. When you get married, those of you that are married, you want to marry someone that's in alignment with you. So every look, all well, I always say to my clients, all money is not good money, but the same thing, all coaches are not going to be a good fit for you. So to me, it's not about how much does it cost, it's who's in alignment with what you need. Because let me tell you, if you don't get your money right, the rest of your business is not going to grow. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. So when you think about that virtual CFO, you want to see how can they actually benefit your organization.
Yeah,
What are they bringing to the table that's going to add value to your organization? You know, I gave
exactly.
a few examples earlier. What if scenario, break even analysis. You know, maybe you are interested in going out and leasing some computers versus buying. You know, is it cost effective? Do you need to maintain the cash? What is the cash
Right.
look like? Maybe we want
Right.
to reserve our cash and keep it in and lease. So those are things that we help you do. You know, you do have employees. Maybe you have employees that are abusing the overtime. Maybe we can
Mhm.
look at some of the analysis to say, what is it costing per employee to, you know, complete this task or whatever the case may be. But those are
Right.
the things that we work with our clients on. And Nicole, you brought up a point, reviewing your profit and loss statement on a quarterly basis. We review those reports each and every month with all of our
Mhm.
clients. We sit down
Mhm.
around the 15th, 16th, and 17th of the month and review those reports every month. And there's
Yeah.
always something that we find.
Always
That's
something.
why we
Like
say,
I'm supposed to do it every month too, but my schedule doesn't permit. So I started saying, "Girl, give me every quarter." I know I'm supposed to do it every month, but I can't, you know. So yeah, girl, yeah, I'm supposed to
yes,
do it every month. So
yes.
you have
And
another
that's
question?
where we
Then
put the
go ahead.
responsibility on the CEO.
Right. So Monique says, "I have a CPA. Can that work?"
A CPA can possibly work. However, a CPA is looking at your work from a I want to say from a transactional standpoint,
Hmm.
similar to an accountant. We're coming in and doing some strategic work, as I said. We're looking at your finances from an overall view. And that's
Right.
why we have the staff behind us to support you. So a CPA is hired to do a specific task. We're hired to come into your organization and really oversee the entire aspect of the organization, financially speaking.
Right.
You know,
So you
it may mean putting SOPs in place for your HR team. It may mean
mhm.
putting standard operating procedures in place for the contracts team. So
Yeah.
we're not just that numbers person, that numbers individual.
And I would say, I would focus less on title and more on what you need. And if are they skilled to do it? Because some CPAs could be skilled, but you have to look at not can they do it, but do they do it? Difference, right?
Yeah,
So it's not necessarily is it a CPA or a bookkeeper or it's a who has the ability to provide the service that you're looking for. So like I said a few minutes ago, all coaches are not created equal. Just like all virtual CFOs are not created equal. It took me a long time to find the one I had. This is before I met Dr. Cozette because I would have been working with her, right? So literally, you have to understand what do you need. Be clear what your needs are before you get on the phone with someone or set up a meeting so that you'll know the conversation to have, right?
yeah.
So here's another question: which is better, LLC or S corp? That's a
Again,
loaded question.
yeah, that is a loaded question. It really depends on where you are in your organization, what your revenue, your annual revenue is. One thing that
Mhm.
people fail to realize, you know, when they say, "Oh, I was told to be an S corp," you have a responsibility as an S corp, meaning you have to put yourself on payroll. You have to pay yourself a
Yeah.
reasonable payroll, and that reasonable payroll has to be defined by looking at what are you actually bringing in. So let's just throw out a number. Someone is making $500, 500,000 in their organization every year. Is a reasonable payroll 250K? That's one half of the revenue.
Right.
So is that reasonable? Okay, in my personal opinion, just right off the top, no, that's not reasonable. But we need to sit down and justify what is a reasonable amount. You
Right.
have to ensure that you are processing payroll, paying those payroll taxes. And that's where a lot of CEOs get themselves in trouble based on the question that the young lady just asked, which is best, an LLC or an S Corp. There's responsibilities that come with both, but understand why you want or need, not want, let's say need, to shift over to an S corporation.
Right, right. This is all good. So listen, because there's so much she can teach you. Listen, you can tell she is an expert. She's been doing this for years, right? And she's good at it. She has a free gift for you. Now tell them about this ebook. Those of you that are asking all these questions, which are good questions, I'm gonna be honest with you. There's no way in the next 10 minutes you can really dig deep into questions you have. So if you really know that it's time for your business, this is an opportunity for you to, number one, get a free gift and walk through. But you know, when you get a free gift, you're gonna get her email address. You can always email her and say, "Hey, this is what I need," and she'll take it from there. So tell them about the free gift.
Absolutely. So, outsourcing, is it, are you ready for outsourcing? This free guide, and listen, I always say this, if it's free, it's for me. So, if you're considering outsourcing your accounting services, then this guide has questions in there that will alert you to say, am I ready for outsourcing? And it's going to tell you here are some of the things that's happening in your organization that's great indicators as to whether or not it's time for you to outsource the services that you need. And Nicole said it, and I'm going to reiterate it. It's not about, it's what you need in your organization and where you're looking to drive your organization. If you're ready to scale, grow, and leverage, it probably is time for you to outsource. You know,
Yeah.
we can't wear all the hats in our organization. We try, but I guarantee you something falls through the crack when we wear
Mhm.
all those hats in our organization. And if we're up late, we're working 16 hours and we're still not getting things done, and things are slipping through the crack, it probably is time for you to outsource the work that's in your organization, whether it's the financial side, whether it's your virtual assistant, whatever it is. We cannot wear multiple hats no matter what how we try. We can't do it.
Right, right, right. Well, listen, you've given us so much to think about and talk about. I want to thank you. You know, as we close this segment, is there anything you want to add to all the yummy insights you've already given everyone?
Absolutely. For all of my CEOs, and not just my CEOs, for all of you, I want for you guys to get in a habit or start developing habits where you are paying yourself first. You
Hmm.
know, for my CEOs, you should have at least 5 bank accounts. And I'm going to give you these 5 accounts that I
Woo,
need you to think
y'all better
about.
get a pen.
This
Get a
is
pen.
where
Get a
I'm going to
pen.
live it. So I need for all of you to ensure that you have an account where your income is flowing into. You need another account where your operational expenses are being paid. You need that third account for your payroll. If you are processing payroll and nothing else should come out of there. You're paying Uncle Sam out of that. You're
Hmm.
paying your state agencies out of that. The payroll related taxes. You need a cash reserve account. And then you need, I'm missing one. Oh, you need your savings account, your
Mm.
cash reserve, and your tax account. I'm sorry, your tax account. Your tax account is where you're paying your estimated taxes for the income that you are driving in to the organization. So let me recap that because I stumbled for a second. Your income account, your operating account, your payroll account, your cash reserve account, and your tax account. Those are 5 accounts that every single CEO must have in their organization. There are more, but I don't want to confuse you. A
And so you can
confused
tell. Sure.
mind does nothing. If I've already
Okay.
confused you, just reach out to me.
Right, right, right. And let me tell you, she's giving you guys so much in the last, can you believe it's been 25 minutes already? She's giving you guys so much insight. So thank you, Dr. Cozette, to your commitment to make sure we're all financially healthy. Thank you for always, always pouring it in, and just your willingness to serve us and your giftedness and your brilliance.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. It has been my pleasure. Grab the book, you guys.
Grab the book. So with that, that was another episode. This has been another episode of Bankroll Your Brilliance. So listen, a couple things I want to share with you. One, those of you that are saying this topic was great and you have other topic ideas that you want us to talk about in these segments, send an email. The email, send it to byb@blackdoctor.org, byb@blackdoctor.org, and say, here's the topic, right? And again, it has to be around what is your brilliance or getting clear on it. The second area is the value tied to it. And the third is how do you make multiple streams of revenue? Additionally, for those of you that are saying this is great, but I want ongoing tools, tips, strategy, follow me on Instagram. I'm always posting tips, Bankroll Your Brilliance tips for the week, different strategy. I am at N Roberts Jones. Sorry, my text messages are going off. N Roberts Jones, because everybody knows I'm done with this at 12:30. So with that said, thank you for joining us. Take a minute, do two things. If you got any value out of today's episode, click the button below and share it. Share with your network. There's someone in your network that needs to understand the value of having a virtual CFO, and they will get some yummy insight from Dr. Cozette from this episode, right? Second thing is leave us a comment. Tell us the value you got out of this episode. And until I get to see you, I'll be back next Thursday with another episode. So have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you soon. Bye, y'all.